Hi, shalom, namaste. Welcome to Soul Centered. My name is Ariella Levy, and I am on Facebook Live tonight to talk to you about three simple, not so simple, but three steps to start loving your body, to connect to your divine body wisdom, and ultimately stop hating your body, and what this all has to do with our quarantine and coronavirus. So I want to start with a little story because in my story you're going to hear that I've been really struggling with positivity and struggling with social media and a lot of social media posts telling me that this is my time to heal and this is the time to get yourself online and get your business online and just go do it. And yesterday I had a day, I'm sure we've all had many days within this period of time, where I did too much. I had 2 Passover Seders that we conducted. I had two birthday parties, Zoom birthday parties, but still, to make your children feel special during this time, you kind of have to go a little bit overboard. So we had like all these interesting things that we did. So yesterday I cleaned the house. I was absolutely exhausted, but I didn't listen to my body, and instead I ended up cleaning too much. My back was hurting. I felt emotional and overloaded, and ultimately I felt that, so not only was I just dealing with the week and just coming out of the week, but my body was talking to me because I had underlying stress and anxiety. So what the idea of stop hating your body in this moment during our time right now is that not only are we just dealing with life, if you have body issues or food issues or just issues connecting to yourself in general, sometimes now this is exasperated because we are dealing with trauma. And that trauma is very real. It's outside when you walk outside. When I clean my grocery stairs, the waves of anxiety that flow through my body are very intense. So yesterday, as I said, I had a day. It was kind of like a, on my knees kind of day. And I realized I was not in my body. I was not listening to my body. I felt like I was a little bit emotional eating, which I used to do, which I don't, thank goodness, do anymore after doing after really connecting to my body and my divine body wisdom. And I wasn't feeling, because what happened is when we get in that space, when we're not in our bodies, when our bodies are screaming at us, they're tired, they're angry, they're too full of food. We often don't want to feel that hard stuff. And that was my frustration as I climbed into bed at 8:30 last night, crying because I wanted to stop comparing myself. I wanted to stop working so hard. I wanted to acknowledge all those negative feelings that I felt, and I just didn't allow myself to do it for about 3 or 4 days. And once I allowed myself to feel it, I felt better. But this morning I woke up and I can feel it all in my neck. And so it was my signal to go inside of myself and really connect to what feels stressful inside of here and the feelings that I was holding inside of here. So I love this book. I started reading. I actually started it last night. I'm not going to say the full title, but I will give you an idea. It's by Mark Manson, and it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. So it talks about this idea that when we place so much pressure on ourselves and ultimately on our bodies, that we trick ourselves into caring more about what the outside world thinks about us than what the inside thinks about us. And what happens is that we disconnect from our bodies, and we lose a sense of intimacy and experiencing life. So I'd like to discuss with you ways to reconnect, ways to finally stop hating your body, whether you're male or female. We all struggle with this deep connection sometimes to ourselves. So if we always think with our mind, then we're not truly experiencing life. And so I'd like to talk about 3 things we can do right now to stop hating our bodies and stop putting so much pressure on ourselves, especially during this moment in time, and to start resting inside of our bodies and finding our home. So the first step is to connect to your body's wisdom. This idea has been with me for so long, and I teach it to my clients. Your symptoms, whether it's your neck hurting or you have thyroid issues, or God forbid you have an illness, muscle tension, anything that you feel in your body has an underlying emotion that wants to speak to you. I know it sounds weird and crazy, but when we live from here up, I've talked about this before, and when we have symptoms going inside of our body, the first way to connect to your divine body wisdom is to feel the emotions underlying the illness, symptom, or pain. Underneath there is typically a small child, which is you, that needs not your judgment, not your pressure, not your intense running. It needs you to slow down, to breathe, and to love him or her. So the question I would ask is, what are you holding underneath your symptoms? It doesn't mean that we cause our illnesses and our pain. What it does mean is that every symptom that we have has an underlying emotional component that we can tap into to make space for healing. And healing is a loaded word. Healing, simply in the way that I teach it, means that you are whole. So when we tap into those symptoms and we find the emotion underneath it, fear, anger, old wounds, triggers, we can then remember and make space to remember that our bodies are naturally whole. We just have to make space for it. Loving and connecting to our bodies are not something that we can force ourselves into. That is from the head. If you have ever been an over-exerciser, overeater, or undereater, or someone that demands their body be, thrown into really tight clothes that you can't fit into anymore, you are forcing your body to live in a world where it doesn't live in anymore. It could, but in this present moment, our bodies may not live in this ideal way of that we expect it to. The divine feminine body, whether you're masculine or feminine, the feminine inside all of us is one that feels and listens to their bodies. So that is the one way to connect to your divine body wisdom. For example, I finally listened to my body. We're human. Even though I teach this stuff, I still have to remember it for myself. I climbed into bed at 8:30 at night. Normally I go to bed later, but I knew that I needed to, first of all, shut my phone off and put it far away from my bed, which is what I do anyway, but I didn't even look at it. I shut my phone down. I stopped social media, my number one go-to for all things anxiety. And I closed my eyes and I fell asleep at 8:30 and I slept all night and I needed it badly. So that's one way of just an example of listening to your body. The second simple step is to stop the war with your body. So if you've had years of hatred, of forcing, of comparing, of pressure, if you've had years and years of jamming yourself, whether it's your body or just your being, into the way that the world thinks that you should be, and you're not honoring who you truly are, then you're not inhabiting your body. We are placed on this earth for a finite amount of time. We don't know. It's the mystery. We don't know when we're going to be born, and we don't know when we're going to pass away. But what we do know is that our souls come in and they inhabit a body and they have a spiritual experience on this earth. And the reason why we have a spiritual experience on earth is because we are inhabiting a body. So when we are negating our body and forcing ourselves into situations that don't truly resonate with us, or force ourselves into relationships, or force ourselves to eat things that we don't really want to eat, or overeat, or over-exercise, or under-exercise, and not take care of ourselves, then we are forgetting that the body is a home for the soul. then ultimately we're not at rest. Our nervous systems are going like this. So we're in habit, right? Somewhere along the lines during our lifetime, we have forgotten, probably because of your history and things that traumas, wounds, and just living in life, you've learned to live with your mind and not connect with your body, and to remember that you are already whole. There is nothing you need to do. So stopping the war means a deep remembering, and ceasing the war, the stopping or ceasing the war means that we remember and acknowledge first that we are already whole. There is nothing you have to do. I see it as a hamster wheel that we continue to run on. The doing, the running, the busyness, all of the stuff of life keep us disconnected and away from our true home. Ultimately, the war on our bodies become alienated from us. So we feel alienated from our bodies. We feel distant from our bodies, and then it plays out in our relationships. If you've ever wondered why you feel so intensely disconnected from the person laying next to you in bed at night, some of it, of course, has to do with the relationship we're in. But some of it, I always invite people to look within. Are you alienated from your own self, from your own body? How can you be connected and intimately connected with somebody else if you are at war with your own self? So stopping the war means really paying attention to what your body needs at any given moment. The third section of this, of how to really love and connect to your body, is to communicate with your body. It's to get real with the emotions that are stored in your body and discover the power of feeling. Feeling is really hard for us. I probably have talked about this on every Facebook Live I do, because it's so important to heal, meaning becoming whole, to become whole through any illness, disease, allergy, pain, or any other physical symptoms, is to feel your emotions, to feel what's going on inside your body. To learn how to listen and communicate with your body through your physical symptoms is more important than any other tip I can give you to connect with your body. To develop a relationship with food and exercise and self-care, that doesn't even resonate with me when I work with people, because you can't figure out what your body needs to eat if you don't know how you're feeling inside first. It's the first step. To change your physical weight. Some of us feel overloaded by the intense amount of things that we're eating right now. To comfort ourselves, what if I asked you to feel what was underneath the need for comfort? What do you need? What do you really need? Write it down in a journal. Express it out loud. Get it outside of your body. To change your physical weight means that you have to tap into what you're feeling. As I said, it's a little backwards. Our society says that we have to fix and force ourselves into a certain body shape and to be a certain way in this world. A go-getter, always doing, always running. And it's actually, we flipped it on its head. And so my prayer is that this time of the virus, and obviously our prayers go out to those that are ill and those that have left their bodies. But for the rest of us that are in our homes and dealing with just life and stress, my prayer for us is to flip this idea. Body connection is to feel your emotions first. It's not about what you're eating. It's not about dieting. It's not about exercising until you can't breathe. It's also not about just sitting around. It's finding what your body wants in order to move the way it wants to move, in order to eat the way it wants to eat, in order to be at home in your body. So I would like to invite you to stay tuned for a Divine Body Wisdom group where I will be offering a lot of guidance on this. It's really not about It's not about what you're eating. It's not about what your physical shape is. However, we deal with all of those different physicality, the physical pieces of the body. So stay tuned for a Divine Body Wisdom group. I also want to invite you to a 30-minute Divine Body Wisdom complimentary discovery session where we will go on Zoom and we will sit down together and we will discover and map out exactly how you have disconnected from yourself, how that has affected your relationships, and how we can bring in not only the connection with your body, but also the connection with your divine intuition, with your higher self, like really including all of the senses here when we work together. So if you are interested, you can private message me. You can also reach me at mysoulcenter.org under the healing section. And I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay safe, healthy, and somewhat calm. Namaste.